next Sunday night, 6, Southern Blessed will be here, so be here for that. Remember on September the 24th, if you're going to the Serve Safe certification will be that day. That's at 9 o'clock. So if you're going to be involved with that, be here for that. See you at the poll. That will be the September the 28th. Tony, you got anything to say about that?
No, you kind of caught me off guard. I just.
I did good, didn't I?
Yeah. You know, these kids need every bit of support, and this is an opportunity for them to get out and show the others around them, to show Christ to them, that they will come out and pray. I mean, I know this is something that's not supposed to be led by us adults, so this is the kids stepping up and doing this. So if you've got the time or opportunity to go to one of our local schools and join in with the crowd and hear these kids speak and hear these kids pray for their friends and around them and for their schools, it is uplifting. And support them in any way you can.
So support our kids. Alana's got started back. Anything to say about that?
It's going great. We can still use volunteers though.
Any volunteers for Alana? There's things you can do to help with that. So if you're available at that time, from 6:30 till 8 on Wednesday, the help would be greatly appreciated. And on October the 2nd, we're having a cookout. Probably be our last one of the year, so maybe not. We'll see. Depends on the weather, I guess. But if you're able to do that, we had 2 or 3. We had a wonderful turnout. Everybody had a good time. So if you're able to come with that. Does anybody know any other announcements?
The committees for the new year are on the front table. It's that table back here if you want to list the committees for 16.
Okay. The new, for our meetings listed for that. They're all right there and I can give them the side. Anything else? If not on the prayer list, we'll give them 2 this morning, early service. Ella Peters and Ralph Matheson. Remember those 2. Does anybody got anybody else we need to add to the prayer list today? Anyone else?
The victims of the bombing in Manhattan. The victims of the bombing in New York last night.
Anything?
So he starts her last round of chemo tomorrow.
Anything else? Okay. Anybody? Anything else? Frank, if you lead us in prayer, if you want, please.
Well, Heavenly Father, just thank you for bringing us out today. Just thank you for the many blessings that you give us on a daily basis. And just remember everything that was just talked about, the ones on the nursing homes and the ones that are just on the prayer requests. Just take care of all their needs, whether we don't know what the needs are, whether it's medical, emotional, or whatever, but just pray for those people, pray for their families, and just pray in general for the church and just everything that's going on right now, what was talked about with the praying at the flagpole for our youth. That's our future. We just need to guide these young children to go the right way, to see the Lord, to just leave a decent life, and just pray for all the events that's coming up, Awanas, as we get that going. We touch so many children. Just pray for the workers, the ones that are with these children on Wednesday night to help guide them. Some of the ones that they don't get to go to church unless we pick them up with the church van. Pray for all the workers, the drivers, the ones that are out on the roads with them. Just pray for them. Pray today for today's service. Just pray that our hearts are touched, and pray and just open our eyes and open our hearts to you, Lord. Just give us the message that you want us to hear. Pray for our country as we get closer to election time, just that our country makes the right decisions to keep our great country going great. Pray for the ones that were injured again in New York, and pray for our military, our police force, and all the ones that keep us safe on a daily basis. Just put a hedge of protection around them. And again, pray for our military that are stationed around the world, that keeps our world so great, our country so great. Just pray for them and bring them home safely to their families. Amen.
Okay, birthdays. Frank has a birthday.
Well, that was last week, that's over.
When you were here, sorry. Ms. Lacy has birthday this week. Anyone else?
Linda Morgan has birthday today.
That's my birthday.
Miss Eleanor's birthday is today. She's not here.
Oh, okay. Ms. Eleanor. Anyone else?
Chelsea had one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think we got Chelsea, she was here, where?
Am I backwards or forwards?
Mark,
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for today, Lord, just a beautiful sunshine you've given us, Lord, just thank you so much for your love and your honor. Lord, to open our hearts today, for the service today, thank you, Lord, for the speaker today, Lord, just giving the words, Lord, and encouragement today to lead us today, Lord, to be with our pastor, Lord, and family, Lord, they're out and about, Lord, just keep them safe, Lord. Be with us as the week coming up, Lord, remember, Lord, to be servants of you, be fruitful, Lord, just, and just help us to do anything, lose our testimony, Lord, Henry, Lord, hope to just show love and compassion, Lord Jesus. Thank you so much for the love and compassion you show us. Father, I thank you for granted, and just thank you for your love.
His granddaughter, his other kids.
we're very fortunate this morning to have Brother Mike Webb with us. He's going to come and tell us about missions in India, and it is a very interesting program, to say the least. Brother Mike.
Morning. It's been a while since I've been here. Some of you don't remember me. It's been 10 or 12 years since I was here last. I've preached here a couple of times. Actually done some mission stuff here. I brought Brother Bruce McDonald here. I was here in Ukraine. My wife and I done ministry in Ukraine for 14 years. Last year, we helped arrange Brother Bruce and the Baptist bishop from Ukraine to come here. And while they were here, we were in the Ukraine. We were doing ministry there. We done something we've never done before. We actually pulled 20 pastors and their wives out of a war zone in the eastern Ukraine and brought to a seminary outside of Kiev. And we put on a week-long retreat for them. We've never done anything like that. Let me tell you, that was the most rewarding mission work that we have ever done. Listening to stories, how the church is growing, how the persecution, how the church is growing, people really getting serious about their faith, and I was just very, very humble. For those that don't know who I am, my name is Michael Lynn. I'm a retired Marine. I thought I was going to be a bass fisherman when I retired from the Marine Corps because I had other plans, and he called me to do mission work. And over the years, that has developed into a lot of different things. I'm currently the missions pastor at Manual Baptist Church, and I'm the missions coordinator for our association. Now, how many ladies do we have in here that's in the WMU? Any in here this morning? One, two or three ladies. Here in a couple of months, these ladies are going to start promoting the White River Christmas offering. Well, I'm going to leave it for you guys, because I want to show you some things that your White River dollars do. But at the same time, they also talk about unreached people groups. How many different unreached people groups there are across the world? How many millions and millions of people there is that's never, ever heard the name of Jesus? Well, it's hard for some people to believe that there's people that's never heard the name of Jesus. Well, I'm here to tell you it's true. Our church stepped out on faith, and we adopted an unreached people group. About this March will be 3 years ago when we started. It took us a year and a half of praying before we selected a group. And after we selected a group, while we were waiting for the Lord to tell us it's time to go, well, one thing is we decided that if we're going to do this, we're going to the darkest place in the world, and that's India. They have over 22,000 different gods in India. Some of these, when you see them, I'm going to show you them. I've got this presentation broken into 5 different groups. I'm going to slow it down. I'm probably going to go through one group this morning. I do that because I was in a church in West Virginia one time, and the computer gave out, and I didn't have a sermon ready. So the pastor was with me, had to get up and preach until I could get the computer going, and I had to come back up. So I've got 2 sermons with me, and I've got a presentation for 5 different parts. So I'll always over prepare, but I won't keep you too long. We adopted an unreached, unengaged people group, which means they have no gospel witness. And one of the classes that I took our church through was called How to Embrace an Unreached People Group. There was a pastor by the name of Michael Cortell at Edgewood Baptist, North Carolina, said this, and I echoed it very loudly to my church. If you don't want your health, you don't want your wealth, and you don't want your church turned upside down, do not do this. Do not engage an unengaged people group. I know that sounds odd in church, but he said, do not do this. Why? Well, you're going to find out why in a few moments. But we found out very, very quickly. As soon as we adopted an unreached people group, my wife comes down with breast cancer. I boldly from the pulpit said I knew that this was spiritual warfare, and I didn't care. I'm still going forward. Then I wound up in the hospital with my heart. Then my pastor spent 3 weeks in the bed with pneumonia. And I had to fill the pulpit with a bad heart. I know you can't make this stuff up, folks. You really can't. Satan, if you don't think, when you walk into Satan's realm, that's in darkness, has never heard the name of Jesus, that Satan has had a grasp upon for thousands of years, if you don't think you're going to get hell's attention, you are sadly mistaken. And Brother Michael Cottrell says you just stay at home, stay in your church, and do whatever it is that you all do. Well, I'm glad that we have done this. We're still moving forward. And one of the things, go ahead. The scriptures that come to mind says, therefore, Jesus said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers to the harvest. You notice he didn't say anything about praying for the harvest. He says, pray for the laborers. The harvest is already there. They're low-hanging fruit. All you got to do is go. They're there. They're waiting on you. We actually have people that are waiting on us we have never met. And you've heard those in Mission Mosaic. You've heard those mission moments about those instances. We've had those instances. The International Mission Board invited us to come to India to take some training, and then we were going to go out and start looking for this unreached, unengaged people group. One of the things is it takes most churches about 3 years to locate them. We've been very blessed. We found them on our first trip. There's a church in Jackson, Tennessee that we were working with in Calcutta. They're still winning. They're just now finding the whole people. And they're a church of 900. Our church is the same size as this church, so we're not a big church. We run about 100 to 110 every Sunday morning. So listen, it doesn't take a big church to do this. What it takes a commitment to the Lord Jesus Christ to do this. And see, we need to have a burden for the lost of the world. When we go and we share Christ, what we're doing is we're not sharing anything about ourselves. We're sharing Jesus' testimony to the world. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Now, when we arrived in Calcutta, I'm going to give you an instance, a landmass that you can understand. If you're coming to Hampton, to the new red line, you make a left to come to Mountain City, and you look up through that valley, that stretch, all the way to Mountain City. If you just stay on that road, that landmass coming all the way to Mountain City is about the size of West Bengal, which is where Calcutta is. There's 48 million people. Did you hear me, folks? 48 million people in that landmass. In that, there's 785,000 doves somewhere. We did not find them there. Now, every morning at 5:30, this is the view that I had out my window. And then there's the mosque. And that's what I was woken up by every morning. I was morning prayers at 5:30 in the morning. And then the next thing that came in was the ravens. The ravens would come in. They were at 6 o'clock every morning when the prayers was over. They were there. Every day. It sounded like that Birds movie in the 60s. Some of the old people remember that. It's a very eerie feeling. It really is. I was staying in the British Missionary Society compound, which was founded after Jonathan Edwards. There are just churches on each side of it. Baptist churches that are now historical landmarks. There's Presbyterian churches. There's all kinds of churches, and they're all landmarks. See, they've done things a long way. They built these big buildings. It was during the colonial days, colonization, and only the British would come to it. They didn't reach the lost. They were just building these buildings for their own. Kind of like what we do. We build buildings for our own. Well, they're now landmarks, tourist attractions. I did when I was there. And this is a nice facility. It's real cheap. It cost me about $3 a day to eat 3 meals and stay there. That's why one from IMB set it up there. We took ASAP training. What is ASAP training? Abiding, in other words, learning how to follow Christ, seeking how to do evangelism, obedience-based, we could use a little bit of that, and church planting. So all of this is in the realm of reaching the lost. Now, we are reaching out to what's called the Doba people. The Doba people are washers of clothes. They're in the low caste system. They're considered unclean because they touch something dirty. A tanner is something that they handle dead animals. They're considered unclean. Now this is an average day in Calcutta. You can see the rooftops, all the trash. If you're on the bottom, you get it all. It's the dirtiest place on the earth. I think I'm in a mosque taking this picture. Now, one of the things that we had to learn is learn a little bit about the culture. And this may upset some people that's in here when I say this, and if I do, tough. Okay? This is the facts. This is Mother Teresa's house, one of them. They're all over the city of Calcutta, orphanages. This is Mother Teresa's place, and we have it listed as a pagan temple. This is where Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims come to die. And what the nuns do is they help them die being a good Muslim, Hindu, or Sikh, or whatever they are. They do not share Christ with them. Yes, you heard. They do not share Christ. They show them the love of Christ by washing their feet, cleaning them, them, feeding them, and watching them slip off and go to hell. And that's all they do. That was a very eye-opening experience for me. Well, another eye-opening experience is when I came out of the gates of the missionary compound, and there was a naked woman and 2 naked children sleeping in front of it. And I looked down the streets, they're everywhere. No clothes, none at all. This is a Kali temple. You know, like Indiana Jones, Kali. Well, I'm going to show you what the real Kali looks like. Next slide. I got in trouble in the Kali temple because I was taking pictures, and you're not supposed to. And I had my camera like this, and I walked up to this window, and I was trying to take pictures of what they were doing. Now we're getting into Old Testament stuff. They were doing animal sacrifice. They were sacrificing a goat. And if you look, back that up if you can. If you look, those people are barefooted. They're walking through the blood of the goat. And you see the blood of the goats all over the floor. There's the next victim. They're just waiting till they get the next group of people to come into the temple. And that's where the dog is cleaning the floor. That's where they're dragging him out. Now, I was trying to take a picture, and this was not a very pretty sight. You know, when I study scriptures and I study ancient Jewish history and stuff, how they sacrificed the animals, it was done with a very sharp knife. They were doing this with a very dull machete, trying to hack this goat's head off. It's a very ugly scene. And what these people do is they go in there, and the offering, they've got like a bowl that this goat lays on, the blood goes into it, and they go up and they take their finger and put their finger in it and go up and put the blood on the Kali and ask for forgiveness of their sins. Next slide. Now, after I got in trouble, the lady did allow me to take these pictures. Now, I want to show you how close in proximity this is to Mother Teresa's house. Mother Teresa's house is on the right behind her. This is her back door. So, as you look at these slides, go ahead. These are the people living on the streets coming to get something to eat, and they're waiting for that goat to get cooked so they can eat the sacrifice. This is Kali. They ask me what he is. I have no clue. They don't either. They just know that he's supposedly very powerful. He's just one of 22,000 gods. The next one. This is a miniature Kali temple. This is where you buy garlands and you go in and hang. You do a garland sacrifice. Actually, the people that make the garlands is a unreached people group. They were one of the ones that we were praying over. Next slide. This is a Brahmin temple. Now, these are two brothers that are going to the Brahmin temple with a food sacrifice because their mother and father is haunting them, and they want to have a peaceful life, so they're asking the Brahmin priest to offer up this food sacrifice so that the mother and father will leave them alone so they can live in peace. The only thing that this food sacrifice is doing is feeding that Brahmin priest and all the ladies that hangs out with him in the back. They're not stupid. They know where the food comes from. That's all they're doing. This is the next one's my favorite one. I don't even know what god this one is. It's Iris or Isis or something like that. Not Isis, but Orisis, I think. Now, there's a story that goes with this one. The husband and wife was traveling to a faraway land, and the husband fell over dead. And the woman prayed and prayed and prayed. He's dead. So she decided to take his body and go back home. So she took him down to the water. The ship or the boat come in. They loaded him up on the boat. And as soon as he cast out into the water, he came alive again. So the water is considered to be sacred because he came back to life. I'm going to show you the water. See that trash? This is a temple. Next one. Now, if you look in behind, there's a concrete spillway up there. That's called an open latrine sewer. It comes from all those shanties that comes into the water. And these people are down there shoveling up, trying to find treasures of money or gold or and this is her. Very spooky. That is real hair on her head. That is real hair on those mannequins' heads up there too. Now they'll clean her up once a year when it comes time for the floods, because the floods comes and washes all that trash out to the sea. You know, kind of like washing your sins away. And that's what they use. This is, the other place I got in trouble is a mosque. This is the largest mosque in Calcutta. They do not get along with the Hindus because the Hindus don't eat cattle. Anything that's a giver of life is considered a god. If you have an apple tree, it's a god because it's a giver of life. It gives fruit. A peach tree, any kind of fruit tree, a nut tree. My pastor, you look around here, had to relieve himself. We were going in the jungle near a village. And he had to pull over, so he runs up to this tree to relieve himself, and there's a shanty shack to the right of it. This man comes out yelling, no, 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 that's my God. It was a fruit tree. He had to urinate on the corner of his house. But you can't make this up. He believes that that fruit tree is his God, and it's going to save him. That's just one of 22,000 gods. Well, being in this mosque is a very eerie feeling, and I wanted to make sure I was out there before prayer time. And we were getting ready to leave, and you had to take your shoes off and hand them in when you first get there, because you're not allowed to go into the mosque with your shoes on. They have a line that's there. This is the line to go in. It's sacred. So I took my shoes off and I handed them to the guy, and he put them away. But when I come back out, he handed me my shoes, so I set them down to put my feet in. What I did, he set my shoes and put them in a busy street, because I was on the wrong side of the line. I had violated the temple. So he threw my shoes into the street, and I had to run into a busy street with no shoes on, into traffic and get my shoes and run back and put them on, and he was standing there with his hand out. Money. I watched your shoes. You defile my temple, pay me. And I didn't. So I got in trouble. Next slide. One of our pastors in another part of the country located Doba people. This is one of those stories where, you know, the missionary pulls them on the beach and there's somebody there and been waiting on him. Well, this was one of those stories. We went through our training. Our missionary said, hey, they located them in another state, the state of Jharkhand, the city of Ranchi, and do you want to go? We're like, yeah. So we flew there from Calcutta. And what happened is Pastor Amos was walking into a village, and he was doing a survey to find out if there's any Dobas there. And this guy's walking out to go to work, and he introduced himself, and he asked him if there's any Dobas in the village, and he goes, yes. Why do you want to know? He said, well, there's some Americans here, and they would like to come meet some Dobas. He goes, I'm Doba. He said, what do they want to talk to me about? He said, well, they're Christians. They would like to talk to you about their God. And he says, good. He said, I've been wanting to learn how to be a Christian, and nobody knows how to tell me to be one. Folks, you can't make this. We had this happen. You're going to see here. Next slide. As you're over there, you see animals everywhere. You can just keep this rolling. This is about the transportation. We totaled one of these, and I'll tell you about that when we get there. Bicycle gondolas, they're almost extinct now. In this picture, they're trained national pastors. Most of these are around the age of 22 to 23 years old. They can't read and write. If you look, you'll see a couple of them looking over to one of them's paper that can read and write to figure out how to fill it out. And yes, they are pastors and they can't read and write. We have to teach them in symbols. This is Dr. George Tupper. Dr. George Tupper is from Memphis, Tennessee. Brother George was in Bangladesh as an agriculturalist. He's a doctor of horticulture. I can't say that. He's a farmer. There. And when the tsunami happened, the IMB pulled Brother George and sent him to India, and he handled all of the relief efforts of recovering the bodies, feeding the masses. This is the man. While he was there, the Lord spoke to him and told him that he wanted him to stay in Asia and that he founded what's called the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life is a part of the International Mission Board. You will not hear about it because it's a private company. He started a private company in India, which you're not supposed to be able to do. So you know God's in it when you can do that. And what it is based off of Luke chapter 9, Luke 10, and Matthew 10, which is the same thing Jesus tells us to do. To go out 2 by 2. And now if you remember the scriptures, his disciples had been with him for 3 years studying underneath Christ. And then Christ sends his disciples out in Luke chapter 9, 2 by 2. And then when they come back, he sent them back out. In Luke chapter 10, there were 72 of them. It shows multiplication. So when the WMU each year tells you that there was 3,700 churches started in Asia, 2,900 of those were started by Tree of Life. That's no joke. We planted a church on our first tree. That's unheard of. Next slide. But these young men right here are getting ready to go to Muslims and to minister to Muslims. There was an empty chair up there. One pastor had been killed. Next slide. Listen, people are people everywhere. I don't care about your race, your creed, your colors. People are people. They are created in God's image. Now the food's not. It's hot. And I've come to the conclusion the reason it's hot and all the spices is on it is to cover up the lot. But I say that jokingly because I don't like spicy food. But I've been going there for almost 3 years now, and I've never gotten sick. God has been very, very gracious to me. We started going in these areas looking for dovas. This is a typical village. You can run through this one. We didn't find any dovas in this one. It was false. Now this one, we learned some lessons here to start moving forward. These are, it's not a house, or it's a house, it's not a church. It's what's called a fellowship. This is a group of dovas that's come together, and there's a pastor by the name of Titus who comes around and he does prayers with them and songs. That's all he knows to do. We went in and actually shared Christ with them, and 5 of them were saved. We baptized them, now that is a church. This is a group of dovas, a husband, wife, and children, and son-in-law. You have to understand, in the India culture, it's a male-dominant society. I shared Christ with this family. The family's doing this. They're weeping, they're crying. And the husband goes, no. So the husband just sent the whole family to heaven because they will not disobey the head of the household. Worship services, we had the opportunity to go, if you're a male above the age of 12 and you've ever been to a Bible study, then you're qualified to preach. So I don't want to hear anybody, I can't do anything for the Lord. Okay? All the men that was there went to different churches and preached. There are very colorful people, but very spiritual people, those that become Christ. Because Christ is all you have. He is all that you need. He is it. And when you listen, American Christianity, I'm telling you, American Christianity is going to send more people to hell. And I'm going to be bold and say that. American Christianity is false. It is a false religion. We have watered down the gospel. And when you go over here and people have never heard the name of Jesus, and then you start from Genesis and go all the way to the book of Revelation in about 3 minutes, sharing what the gospel is, that you're a sinner because Adam and Eve brought sin into the world and you were created to live forever, and you're dying now because of sin in the world, and Christ can save you from that. That's a very 30-second short version of the gospel. And when they hear this, they want to accept Christ. But here's a problem. You see Benny Hinn and all these guys, they have tens of thousands. Well, you're going to see what happens to those in a few minutes, but they're not saved. go ahead. They told us that we were going to be preaching the next day, and they told me, Brother Mike, you got to be up and ready to go at 4:30. You're going to Father's Fountain. I had no clue where I was going until I got there. I was going to a village of persecuted Christians. Now, how do you minister to them? How do you minister to them? See, Christianity costs you something over there. All these people that's here, when they accepted Christ, they were beaten. Their houses were took from them. They were not allowed to use the well. See, that's a Hindu well. That's not a Christian well. Christian lips can't get on around that water. So they throw you out into the streets. David Platt, the president of the International Mission Board, when he was the pastor at Brook Hills, was over there and found out about this. And his church gave $10,000. And Brother George and them bought this land, and the pastor that's taking care of them built this little complex for them. This is the church, by the way, that I had to preach in. This is Pastor Amos. He's actually a doctor. He's a pig doctor. And you're part of that. I'll tell you a little bit more about that when the time comes. The best meal I had was here. That was after I preached 2 sermons in this little hooch. The first sermon that I preached, our missionary was due on the field, and he hacked the language up so bad that Pastor Amos went out and called somebody else to come in. And I had just finished preaching, and he said, "Now, Brother Mike, I have you to do interpret. You can go ahead and now preach again." Okay? To the same people. So I preached the same sermon to the same people. It was only about 130 degrees. And they were inside of that on the floor with their shoes off. See, if they were here, their shoes would be off. They would be outside. They would not be in this building. They have that much respect for the Lord. And they have given up everything. Everything for Jesus Christ. This is Amos's wife. She's a fantastic cook. Because I was on heart medication and I couldn't eat. The food was spicy. It was killing me. And they cooked the chicken 65. The well, they drilled the well, Never Thirst, which is part of Brook Hills Baptist Church. They're doing that all around the country. And those gardens there are Spanish, so the excess waters it in the dry season, so they have something to eat. This is the little apartment building. If you look, it's bamboo walkway on the bottom and on the top, and underneath of it, or on top of the bamboo, it has a tarp on it. And then it's got cow manure and dirt mixed together, and then they troweled it out for the floor because they didn't have enough money to pour concrete. They call it scat. And that's what you were working on. Now this is what my food was cooked on. This is a typical stove. Next slide. This is the fuel. I think everybody knows what that is. Amen? That was the best meal I had cooked for me in the whole country. The kid went out, killed the chicken, brought it right in. She stripped it, fired up one of those nuggets, and cooked me a meal. And it was fantastic. I could eat. It was the first meal I could eat. This is the floor. Continue. This is Pastor Amos's pig farm. What the IMB done was some of these pastors, so they could be self-supporting, they give them 2 pigs. And then what they do, they have to raise pigs, and when they take another pastor or someone that they're discipling underneath their wing to be a pastor, they give them 2 pigs, so that they could raise pigs. Now Muslims don't eat them, but the Hindus love them. And he sells one a month for $100 to $125, depending on the size, and that's how he supports his wife. And actually, because he's living in that little complex, he supports all those Christians, those persecuted Christians. Our third Nova village, this is the village nearly well. He's the drunk. This is the guy in the green shirt that was waiting on Pastor Amos when he walked into the village. The International Mission Board came in after we left and done a documentary on him. His family did not want him to accept Christ because they knew the price that he was going to pay. And he said, "Nope, I've been waiting my whole life for this." So we baptized him in the middle of the night in the lake. then the next morning, we went and all the ladies that accepted Christ in that little fellowship, we baptized them. Now this is something that's unheard of. On your first trip, finding Dover people, leading them to Christ, baptizing them and starting a church. Well, we kind of figured out that that's where Christ wanted us to work. So we've been going back now for 2.5 years. Why don't you just keep those slides going? As you can see, they're not very big people. Romans tells us there's no difference between Greek or Jew. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes from the Word. How else shall they hear unless the preacher be sent? That word preacher doesn't mean a preacher like, Brother Jim. It means you, a proclaimer. See, this is our complex that we live in ranching right here. We've done investments here. We put air conditioning systems in. We hired a cook. Had beds built to hold us. That cost me about $1,500. So when we go back, we can teach there. We go back to the Sharma colony where we started that church. That's that young lady we baptized. Nasare, this is the guy that met Pastor Amos and wanted to learn how to be a Christian. We led 17 more people there to Christ before I was thrown out. This is Sindega. And I'll probably finish. I'll go on. Go ahead. Sindega is full of Muslims. And we were going down, there's a pastor down there who had sent word that he had found a bunch of Muslims and he had baptized. This is a Krishna temple right here. Now go to the next slide. This breaks my heart. They're on their knees worshiping a clay image. And we can't even get people to come to the altar and confess their sins. Amen? Amen. Roll me. Next slide. We were going to Simdega. We had to stop and get something to eat. This is a fast food restaurant in India style. It is so hot you can't sit near it. But we went to Simdega because this pastor had been going into a Muslim area and had found a large group of Muslim Dobas. And this is him. Hold up right here. He had baptized 100 or 115, and they told him not to come back to the village. If they did, they would kill him. Well, he hasn't. But the next time I hear somebody say they can't walk across the street or go tell somebody about Jesus, I want you to remember what you're getting ready to see. This is his family. Look at his feet. If you can't tell what that is, I can't do it. But his feet are turned outward like this. That's how he walks. He actually rides a bicycle. We haven't brought him on yet as part of our church, but we're going to. We went in that village for these two women. That's one of his disciples. In that culture, man doesn't talk to a woman. So I took my women into that village, into a Muslim village, to share the gospel with these two women. They have accepted Christ, they have been baptized, and 4 other women now have come to Christ in that village. Now this is Lydia. Lydia believes in Christ, but no one had ever told her about Christ, and she found us, found us. So she wanted to make sure she was good to go. We shared the gospel, she believed it. We baptized her. Now this is when I got through out of the village. This is an idol. This lady is building an idol. And I asked her if I could speak with her. And she said I could. And I said, can I interpret your idol? And she goes, okay. And I said, let me guess. These are different phases of your life, and you're building them, and it's getting higher and higher on your works, and you're trying to reach God. And she goes, yeah. I said, would you believe my holy book has got that story in there? She goes, it does? I said, yeah, it's called the Tower of Babel. And I told her the story of the Tower of Babel. She got up and walked away very angry. And I wasn't allowed to go back into that village because I just upset their God. Now this is Lydia's neighbor. She wanted all her neighbors to know Christ as soon as she was good to go. on the guard. Now what we're doing is, I told you we're a small church, right? We adopted an entire state. Not a city, a state. Taunton Nagar is where Taunton Motors is at. This is a GAT. This is what a DOLA GAT or a workplace looks like. That's between 3 and 5 acres of laundry. Now this gentleman asked us what we were doing there, and we told him we were there to talk to him about Christ. He said most people come, and they come in buses, they take pictures, they put them on Facebook and on the internet, and then they laugh about us. We shared Christ with him, and he accepted Christ, and we baptized him right in his own work walk, which might not have been a good thing to do for a lot of reasons. His name is Rosh Hashur. Rosh Hashur's wife is ready to accept Christ, his mother's ready to accept Christ, but he won't let them because of the beatings that he's taken. Every time we come into the city, if the local leaders find out that we're there, he gets a beating because he's not a Christian. These are some of these young men we're discipling. I'm trying to call this the Hamburger Express. Pastor Titus asked us to go talk to his brother about the Lord because he didn't know how to do somebody with Christ. And he's a pastor. And we did. He accepted Christ, so we were taking him to baptize him. We were one of those gondolas, one of those motorized rickshaws doing 35 with 9 people in it. And we T-boned, no pun intended, this steak, or cow, over 2,000 pounds, doing 35 miles an hour. We had about 3 or 4 people that was injured. But luckily the cow got up because I could not have afforded to pay for that cow. I can tell you that would have been the best cow. It would have given the best milk, the best cheese. Oh, it would have been the best in the country if it would have died. Our ladies done simple things, teaching other ladies while they were there about health care. We had 17 women get saved in this group. I mean, it's just amazing. Nikki, she's a nurse. She was teaching women's health. This lady was telling a woman's role in the church. And people not saved being told about a woman's role in the church. Can you imagine that? This is when you're missionaries. When I take people overseas, they'll go out and they come back. Go ahead and flip through here and I'll close. I'm going to read you. Isaiah says, I will bring the blind by the way they did not know, and I will lead them to paths that they did not know. And I will make the darkness light before them and the crooked places straight. These things I will do for them, and I will not forsake them. That's Isaiah's version of Acts 1:8. That's what God is saying to the children of Israel. One, you got to have a vision. Now, I want you to flip through here, and I'm going to stop it on a slide. This is our state. Go ahead. This is mapping we had to do. Back it up. That's Rosh Hashur and his family. Go ahead. This is how the city dough was cooked. They break those cow patties down and get them damp, and they roll them in coal dust to make briquettes. That's how the city folks cook. Now Christianity, just keep going. Christianity here in America is sterile. I think it's the best word. Hold it right there, back it up. Right here's a prime example. This guy says he's a Christian. He had accepted Christ. He had no discipleship. He's a village drunk now. And look inside of his house. All of the different gods. He just put Jesus on the shelf, like one of the other houses. Go ahead. There's a certain picture I'm wanting to get to. Now, most of the Pentecostal churches over there are not like the ones here. They are the Book of Acts Pentecost. They didn't know what a Baptist was. When I asked them if they wanted to work with a Baptist, they said, do you follow John the Baptist? They don't know what denomination is. In this city, there is 8 million people and there is 6 evangelical churches. That's it. I worked with the Seventh-day Adventists to do eyeglass clinics. And there's a certain path. All these red areas, there's no gospel. Now, stop it right there. That's Pastor Robert. He is in the northern part of our state. Him and his wife, go ahead and flip it a couple more. They're doing ministry in little villages because the villagers will let them come in, and the only thing they're doing is teaching children Christian songs. You keep turning. I want you to keep that in the back of your mind. What these people are doing is selling children. They have 8 or 9. They sell one so they can feed the rest of their family for a year so they won't starve to death. That's why Christ said to go into all the world. Folks, when you read Matthew's Gospel, this is what 3 trips, what we've been able to accomplish. 70 professions of faith, baptized 7, trained 89 Christian leaders, 17 villages identified with deep people, covered 5 counties, 5 villages with Christians in it, and 1 church. We did that in 1 year. 1 year. And can I say that our church is about the size of this church? Keep going. There's a picture of a pastor here that I want to talk about. This is the eyeglass clinic that we do. That's his wife. Keep going. Right there. Back it up. I said American Christianity is sterile. We just voted, when I came back, to bring him on. He is our church planner in Tata Nagar, or Yom Kippur, with 8 million people. 6 evangelical churches. He is the only pastor that was willing to work with us. Only one willing to work with the Doba people. Many of the other pastors said they didn't even realize that Dobas could be saved. Did you hear that? They didn't realize that somebody that little calf could be saved. They walk by him every day, don't pay any attention to him. But see, Pastor Alfred's special. See, Pastor Alfred knows what it means to go to hell. Pastor Alfred was a contract killer. He killed 18 men. He had 3 of the agencies in India chasing him down to kill him. And they caught him in the jungle, and he was shot quite extensively, but he didn't die. They took him to the hospital. When he woke up, he started reading the Bible. And he got to the verse of John 10:10, I think it is, where Christ says, I give life, and I give it more abundantly. And he said, God spoke to him, he said, Alfred, I am the giver and the author of life, and you have been taking what I give. And he said something I'll never forget. He goes, Brother Mike, I never kill no more. I said, I'm glad. I'm glad. 3 weeks later, he was saved. 3 months later, he went to Bible college. He has now planted 16 churches in the jungle. We have brought him on board because whenever we go in, people that we've led to the Lord are being beaten. So now, he is going in to communities, finding Dobas for us, starting fellowships. And as of last 2 weeks ago, we just started the 2nd fellowship of Dobas. So my next trip over, more than likely, I will go down and we will lead some people to the Lord and we will start a 2nd church. So see, that's what the Christian walk is all about. If you read Matthew's Gospel, the 16th chapter, in the area of Caesarea Philippi, Christ asked Peter, who does men say that I am? He said, thou art Christ, the Son of the living God. He said, upon this I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail. Now, I want to ask you a question, and I'm going to close. 16, 18, there you go. How many people here have a gate? On their farm or in their yard? There's 1, 2, 3, several. What do y'all have it there for? Do you keep something out or something in? Keep something in, okay?
Hopefully it keeps something in.
keep something in. Anything any different? Now, I want you to look at that scripture again. I will build my church and the gates of hell shall not prevail. A gate is built to hold something in. He's not talking about the church. For years we have said the gates of hell to keep them out of the church. That is not true. The gates of hell is to keep the church out of hell. It's to keep us from reaching the lost. That's why James says that, what is it? We should go and do everything we can to reach the lost. Our arms should look like they've been on fire from reaching people out of the fire of hell. That's what that means. The church, gates should do another thing. In the cities, in Jerusalem, and the other areas around the world, a gate is set up to keep people out. Why? Because it's an opposing force. That means it's an opposing force. The church is the opposing force of hell. And we are to be on the offense, not on the defense. Brother, with that, I'll turn it over.
Thank you, Brother Mike. We can have part of sharing the gospel around the world, and out here in our church, and we appreciate you for what you said. Sister, let's stand.
Lord, just be in a meeting right here, brought me, Lord, and keep, take care of